Football, 100 million simulations to Football King. Episode 71, National Adachi, Allianz Equilibrium. 2 hours later, Chloe sat Rosie in the main driver's seat of the Mercedes, followed by Su Long next to him, and said, "Honey, you have to learn to drive." Su Long nodded and said, "Well, I'll try to learn it this year." This Mercedes-Benz was newly bought by Su Long yesterday and cost £30,000, which is also more convenient for Chloe and Su Long to use in their daily lives. This time, Su Long returned to the Dragon Kingdom, and Chloe also went home to handle the study abroad. Su Long planned to ask Chloe to cancel the Pheasant University in Germany, come to Manchester for a year of preparatory study, and then enter the University of Manchester. After all, the University of Manchester is one of the top 25 universities in the world, much better than the Pheasant University on Chloe's house. Since Chloe was Su Long's woman, Su Long did not want her to be too far away from his life. On June 30th, Su Long came out of Wudu Airport and went directly to the National Football Training Base, by car. What surprised Su Long a little was that both the coach and his teammates were very kind to him. For Su Long, they were not familiar with it, but they knew it very well. After all, it was rumored on the internet that God was peaceful and peaceful. A transfer fee of £10 million. And the industry has determined that it is real, not like Xiaodong injected water. It shows that Su Long is also a kind of player who is considered to be a genius by the major giants abroad. The teammates of the national football team looked at Su Long curiously and were all observing Su Long. One by one, Su Long gave the small gifts he had brought back from England. Even the coaching staff has one. Little careful, not respectful, these are the gifts of Manchester City's clubs. Brother Jihai. Su Long was in the national football team, and the only person he knew was son Jihai, so he naturally went to his side. The two quickly became acquainted, and son Jihai gave Su Long the other teammates. Su Long vaguely felt that the national football team was divided into different factions. It's a bit like when Porto was first simulated, which was divided into Brazilian and Portuguese gangs. The national football team is also divided into 2 or even 3 factions. But Su Long was a newcomer, he didn't know anything, and he could probably only feel that Brother Sun was one of the big brothers of one of the factions. And Su Long and Brother Sun are the most acquainted, and naturally they are also attributed to Brother Sun's faction, perhaps because Su Long was too friendly when they first met, and they also gave gifts, and some people who were not on Sun's side felt that Su Long was a bully. During the lap training the next day, someone actually put a shovel on Su Long. Iron Man feature excitement. If Su Long hadn't had Iron Man characteristics, he might have been injured. Su Long is not an atmospheric person, he directly fell down with the trend, and gave the person who released the shovel a Tarzan pressure. "Fuck you." As he sat down, Su Long's elbow swung and snapped, smashing into the murderer's chest. The chest and knee were hit hard at the same time, and the guy barely let up. The audience was dumbfounded. Su Long, who looked like a small white rabbit, suddenly opened its fangs and turned into a Tyrannosaurus Rex. "What are you doing?" Immediately, someone came to push Su Long away. Overlord characteristics stimulated, this player named Wang Hao, perhaps his physical attributes were too weak, pushed Su Long, but he fell down. Sun Jihai rushed up, pulled Su Long to his body, pointed at Wang Hao, and said, "Ha Da-tsung, what are you doing?" There was almost a clash on the field. The team leader and coaches immediately separated the two sides. Wang Hao hurriedly helped the injured player up, looked at Sun Jihai and Su Long behind him deadly, and then took the injured player to treatment. Sun Jihai also truly recognized Su Long for the first time, and looked back at Su Long. "Yes." Su Long smiled harmlessly and said, "Just now it was all an accident, do you believe it?" The crowd thought to themselves, "Believe you have a ghost." At this time, the crowd did not dare to underestimate Su Long. This young man, don't look at him and smile, it is really not a joke to retaliate. But to blame can only blame that Wang Xian for having bad thoughts first, not Wang Xian shoveling Su Long first, and he will not be injured himself. Alihan, who had been watching from the sidelines, sweated in his heart. Originally, the national football team was divided into 3 factions, it was difficult to balance, and some players were not satisfied with their own roster arrangement, and now it is good, and there is another thorn in the head. As the most sophisticated Alihan in the history of the national football coaches, the main reason why he can barely control the national team is that he can balance the balance of the 3 factions and win at the same time. But Su Long's sudden addition made him feel that it was harder for him to balance. Su Long didn't know if he was punishing himself, and in the training that followed, Alihan actually had to beat himself in the back. "Nyamas, I'm a striker, you told me to play at the back?" "Brother Sun, you're still laughing." Su Long was speechless. "Your head coach knows how to wear small shoes for people." Sun Jihai patted Su Long's shoulder and said, "Su Long, this Dutchman has some problems here." He pointed to his head, maybe he's really not targeting anyone, he really likes to change the forward to the back, and then he likes to change the defender to the forward. Listening to Sun Jihai's words, Su Long knew that he was not the first case of being transformed. Jingji, the 2002 Dragon Country Footballer of the Year, has always played forward and is now transformed into a central defender by Ali Han. And the grandson in front of him, who played right back at Manchester City, has now become a striker. Su Long crying and laughing, "Ali Han, you guys are not deliberate." Of course, Su Long's professionalism is completely fine. Although he spat out in his heart, he still strictly implemented Ali Han's tactics to play the back, and partnered with the 2002 Dragon Country Footballer. After 2 days of training like this, Su Long probably understood what Ali Han's tactics were. Ali Han's arrangement corresponds to his idea of balance. Because the team's 2 starting forwards are above someone, Wang Hao is still the big brother of the national football team, commonly known as the ball bully. 2 people can't be replaced, that can only sacrifice others. In such a situation, Jingji, an all-round fighter with no background, and Su Long, who is more all-rounder, go to the back, attack and defend with both hands, and support the entire team. The Sun Kota striker is a defensive striker like Oi's Chip, a scavenger in the field and wiping his ass for the mistakes of the 2 strikers. Although it is very fucked, but from another point of view, Ali Han is not easy. In the friendly match on July 3rd, Su Long did not have a chance to play at all. Then follow the national football team to Ho Hot, ready to play a second friendly match on July 10th, against the local oil country of the United Arab Emirates. During these 10 days of training, Su Long gradually became familiar with the situation of the national football team. The national football team is now the Tianjin Gang, the Dalian Gang and the Shandong Gang, and the 3 gangs are standing tall. Because of the arrival of Su Long, the power of the Dalian Gang has suddenly become huge. That's why Ali Han didn't let himself play. The first is to warn and punish yourself and stop doing things. The second is to strike a balance so that the national football team will not have civil strife. Su Long wondered, how could a Dutchman of yours be so proficient in the Dragon State power technique? In fact, Su Long really wants to confess to Ali Han, Su Long does not want to engage in any gangs, let me play football well. Ali Han seems to be able to hear Su Long's voice, and in the friendly match against the UAE on July 10th, Su Long changed Zhou Haibing in the 80th minute. With 10 minutes remaining, Dragon Kingdom was 1-2 down. Sun Jihai patted Su Long's shoulder and said, "Su Long, kick well." Su Long nodded. 3 minutes later, Sun Jihai snatched the pass from the UAE midfielder in front of him and passed it back to Jingji behind him. Jingji then passed to Su Long, who turned around and passed 2 Emirati defenders and entered the penalty area. Obviously, the UAE defenders did not expect the newly replaced number 19 player to be so fierce, and they were careless. Longwa's side flew in unison in an instant, and Wang Hao on the other side raised his hand to ask for the ball. Pass. Pass your sister's ball. How many balls have you played in this game, don't you know in your heart? And face raise your hand for a ball. Su Long ignored Wang Hao and looked at the goalkeeper who pounced out, and gently picked at his feet. The ball flew through the air like a spoon, passing the goalkeeper and falling into the net. Su Long. Strike. Sun Jihai, Jingji, and others immediately rushed forward to celebrate. Su Long patted Jingji and Sun Jihai and said, "You have passed it well." Sun Jihai smiled, "This ball passed like that, in the end it is still Su Long's personal strength. Passing through the UAE's defensive players is like passing over a wooden stake." After that, Wang Hao did not give Su Long a good look, and Su Long did not bother to pay attention to Wang Hao. Su Long is most annoyed by this kind of old guy who relies on seniority without strength. When Su Long observed Wang Hao in the past few days, he felt that Wang Hao was like a weakened version of himself. Su Long against weak teams, such as the Bundesliga, such as the Toulon Cup, which is a chopping melon chopping vegetables, but facing the Premier League Team 5.0, the Champions League, in the life simulation are abused. Wang Hao also has this feeling. In the previous friendly match against Lebanon, he could score twice, but against the relatively strong UAE, he was dumbfounded for a whole game. But Wang Hao, this guy is very competent, never reviewed himself, is not good at himself, and complained that his teammates did not pass the ball well. In the 90+2 ND minute, Su Long was surrounded by 5 people in the UAE, passing Jingji, and Jingji shot from a distance and scored the ball. I have to say that this 02 Dragon Country Footballer of the Year is something. Jingji immediately rushed over and hugged Su Long. He knew very well that if Su Long had not attracted the opposite defense, he would not have such a comfortable shooting space. Now Ali Han on the sidelines is very entangled. He is not blind. No Su Long, for the first 80 minutes, 1-2. After 10 minutes there was Su Long, 3-2. Only 10 minutes, it can be seen that Su Long has a lot of strength and talent beyond other national football players. Immediately after the friendly match, the national football team went to the Royal Residence training base to prepare for the 8 p.m. on July 17th against Bahrain. On the way, Ali Han thought for a long time. When he arrived at the Imperial training base, Ali Han finally thought of a way how to arrange Su Long. Episode 72, The Asian Cup. Inferior? 10. Of the horse. Just as the national football team was on its way to the imperial capital, the UAE team leader, Mansu, the youngest son of the current UAE chief, was looking at the profile of the number 19 young player who defeated his UAE team in the last 10 minutes. Mansu looked at Abed, a subordinate who specializes in naturalizing overseas players, and said, "Do you say he would like to come to our UAE?" Abed shook his head and said, "It is unlikely. The Dragon people have always had a great sense of collective honor, not to mention naturalized to our UAE, and often refuse the requirements of European teams for the sake of national team competitions. 5 years ago, we wanted to spend a lot of money to invite the first player of the Dragon Kingdom to our league, but that fan refused without looking at it." Mansu nodded, flipped through the information, and said, "Okay." He is now at Manchester City, and just the other day, he moved to Manchester City for a transfer fee of £1,000. It's a genius player, and I like him a lot. Mansu looked at the information in his hand and suddenly had an idea in his mind. He didn't know how much it would cost to buy a Premier League team. In the highest level office of the national football team, the highest level big man was looking at the report of last week's friendly match, looking at the secretary and saying, 3-2 win against the UAE, not bad. Su Long 1 ball and 1 assist, is he the starter? Speaking, the top boss himself carefully looked at the information of the friendly match and suddenly became angry. The last 10 minutes to send Su Long to the court. Secretary Chen, you go and ask the next game what the foreign coach is going to do. Make him reasonable. The secretary hurriedly said, "Okay, sir." A week of training passed quickly. Before the game, Manchester City coach Keegan also called on purpose. "Sue, are you with son?" "Coach, no, 13, we're in separate dormitories." "Oh, tomorrow's game, I'll keep an eye on you, remember to be careful, don't get hurt, our team needs you very much at the beginning of the season." Su Long smiled and said, "Coach, absolutely no problem, now injuries are unlikely to be injured and playing time is a problem." This time into the national team, Su Long's mentality is very flat. After all, he is a newcomer. Even if he has the support of his brother, he can't stand up to those guys who have people on their heads. What Su Long did not expect was that at the mobilization meeting before the game, he actually entered the starting list. When Alihan's translator read out the starting list, everyone looked at Su Long in surprise. Su Long himself was surprised. Brother Sun did not go on the start, and he actually went up. Sun Jihai patted Su Long's shoulder and said, "Kick well. This Dutchman just wants to disgust me. Coach Keegan will pay attention to our game and we have to perform well in the game." Su Long nodded. The players of the other two factions both looked at Su Long jealously. This sudden arrangement really disrupted their rhythm. Many people with energy are asking what is going on. Why Su Long is on the starting list. Then, they learned a terrible thing, that is, there were also people above Su Long, and it was still in a very high position above. This matter spread back to the national team, and everyone did not dare to slack off Su Long. Sun Jihai was also surprised that the little brother he had been taking care of these days was even more energetic than himself. Wang Hao, who had a grudge with Su Long before, and the Shandong gang led by Wang Hao were very jealous of Su Long. July 17, 2004 at 20:00 hours p.m., fans all over the country are watching the Asian Cup at home in front of the TV. Su Long's family, Su Dad and Su Ma, and a few neighbors were eating melon seeds and watching TV. "Oh, Chen Li, you see, Su Long is on the court." Mama Su nodded calmly and excitedly and said, "Well, he was still training in Wudu last week, and he came to the imperial capital this week." Su Dad sighed and said, "Hey, I didn't know if he entered the national team or bought a ticket earlier." The neighbor immediately said, "It is not simple to ask Su Long to get a few tickets." Su Dad shook his head and said, "He plays for the country, wins glory for the country. What do you do with these things? We are also very good at watching the ball here, watching the ball, in the TV. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The race is on. CCVV5, friends of the audience, welcome to the 13th Asian Cup in China in 2004, and now we are watching the first match of the group stage, Dragon Country against Bahrain, at the Worker Stadium in Longwood, Daijing. Today our side of Su Long debuted, the first game of the Asian Cup group stage, but also his first official game into the national team. Our Alihan coach is very courageous, all of a sudden let the young Su Long start. Let's see his next performance. On the court, Su Long played a position slightly higher than the previous game, and Jing Ji and Li Weifeng formed a triangular area, which is the Dinghai God Needle of the Dragon Country team. As soon as the game began, Wang Hao said, "Pressure the rhythm, don't fight too fast, be counterattacked by the opposite side, take your time." Before the words were finished, Su Long and Jing Ji cooperated and clipped the opposite midfielder, and Su Long stole the ball. According to the custom in OE, at this time it was already 3 wings flying together, and the 2 sides and the middle road must have rushed. Su Long looked up. Nimas, Wang Hao, who had been saying that the rhythm was pressing, and others, saw that Su Long had grabbed the ball, so he slowly ran forward, and blindly raised his hand to ask for the ball. What the hell are you running? Su Long was speechless to this. Wang Hao always regarded himself as the first striker of the Dragon Kingdom. Playing a weak team is indeed like cutting leeks, but the confrontation comes up slightly, it becomes a soft-footed chicken, and he likes to be lazy on the field. Nyama is lazy and lazy. Su Long was furious and rushed with the ball himself. Jing Ji on the other side also rushed along. Wang Hao said anxiously, "Pass, you are cut off with the ball like this, what to do if you counterattack on the other side?" As he spoke, Su Long had already surpassed Wang Hao. Hussein, the captain of the Bahrain Olympic team, is a fierce sliding shovel against Su Long. Ah! The onside commentary, Huang Jianxiang saw Hussein's shovel and exclaimed, "Good ball." Su Long jumped up, and even the man took the ball over Hussein. "There's another experienced abacus ahead of you." He passed the ball to Jing Ji, Jing Ji's cross. Su Long's header from inside the penalty area scored. Entered. Entered, Huang Jianxiang's voice became hoarse. The opening 5 minutes, a goal of gold. Jing Ji's wonderful cross, Su Long's incredibly strong header, directly knocked Abu Sherazai's to the ground. No fouls, Su Long's ball is valid. This is the real Dragon Country football. Su Long took the initiative to run to Jing Ji. The best match on the field with himself is this 0-2 Dragon Country footballer, who ran from the back to the penalty area like himself. If it weren't for his response, he wouldn't have scored this goal. Su Long, Niu Bai. Your pass is also bullish, just play like this. Wang Hao came over to celebrate and said, "Su Long, Niu Bai." Su Long nodded and said, "Well, let's run up and blow them up." Wang Hao's mouth moved, and he wanted to say in his heart, "What to run, you pass the ball to me." Wang Hao was upset and continued, "After scoring a goal, we can't be too relaxed, too risky, we must pay attention to defense, slow down the rhythm." Su Long interrupted Wang Hao and said, "Why should we show weakness to Bahrain? If you can fill him with 10 balls, why should you defend?" Wang Hao was dumbfounded and muttered, "You are still young and don't understand." Su Long ignored Wang Hao and went back to the backcourt. What striker did he play like this? Wang Hao saw that Su Long did not bird him, and his face was suddenly ugly. But remembering the background of Su Long and the rumors, Wang Hao could only endure. He looked at another player in the Shandong gang and said, "Let him cross. When he will lose the ball, it is his responsibility." After 10 minutes, Su Long launched another effective attack, this time finally flying on 3 wings. Jing Ji saw that Su Long had brought money with him, so he rushed to 793. On the other side, Li Jinyu and Zhao Junjia also rushed. Although only half of the players cooperate with themselves, it is better than the last time. Jing Ji received a pass from Su Long and deflected it in the penalty area. Jing Ji was annoyed, feeling that if this ball was given to Su Long to kick, maybe it would be enough. Su Long applauded Jing Ji and shouted, "That's it, that's right." Wang Hao slowly and leisurely stepped back, looked at it coldly, and thought in his heart, "You idiots are running back and forth like this, I see how long you can run." After that, the two sides fell into a tug-of-war. Bahrain had a rather threatening attack that was sabotaged by Jing Ji. The next corner kick was pushed out of the box by Su Long, and Wang Hao was snatched again outside. After that, Wang Hao made several more mistakes outside the penalty area, and Alihan on the sidelines paced back and forth. If it had been for his previous team, without explaining anything, Wang Hao would have been replaced a long time ago. But not now, he can't change yet. If you want to change, at least wait until 60 minutes later, otherwise there will be problems. It wasn't until the 37th minute that Jing Ji received the ball and launched an attack. A cross that kicked the ball up front. Su Long, beautiful stop. Such a stop is rarely seen in our country. I have to say that Su Long's technique is really stable, whether it is playing forward or midfield, he plays very well, and like Jing Ji, he is an all-round fighter. Wang Hao has a chance over there. Su Long did not pass the ball, he chose to break through. Defender number 5, Captain Hussein is up. Oh my god. He knocked the number 5 defender down without fouling. Forbidden zone. Su Long has entered the forbidden area. It's in. The ball is in. Su Long. It's Su Long again. Brace. The TV sets of fans across the country erupted with Huang Jianxiang's hoarse roar, and all the fans stood up at the same moment. Before the game, the major sports media, newspapers, and periodicals predicted Bahrain's inferiority. Now 37 minutes, 2-0. Or is it inferior? Episode 73, Small inferiority, big victory. Ball bully injured. Before the end of the first half, Wang Hao often wandered on the edge of the opposite defender and did not actively return to defense. In his words, he had to focus all his energy on attacking. Su Long heard it roll his eyes. Do you think you are Si Luo? With 10 against 11, at the start of the second half, Bahrain finally found a chance, with Captain Hussein scoring a long-range shot. 1-2. The Bahrain team was partying, as if seeing hope. The attack was even more fierce, and Alihan on the sidelines really endured it very badly. He looked at the arena, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Wang Hao on the field suddenly stretched out his foot to intercept the opposing defender, fouled, and the defender fell to the ground and could not get up. Wang Hao therefore ate a Yellowstone God of War card. Alihan immediately made a substitution. In the second half of 50 minutes, Longwa made a substitution. Wang Hao was not in good shape in this game today, and he also received a yellow card, and it was normal for Alihan to replace Wang Hao in order to protect Wang Hao, and it was Li Yi who was replaced. Wang Hao, known as the strongest striker in the Dragon Kingdom, was replaced by the Hao Cannon, and the Emperor Li Yi was replaced. Wang Hao's face was ugly, and he did not clap his hands with Li Yi at all. Li Yi raised his hands foolishly, and then put them down awkwardly, scolding what he was wearing. After Li Yi came on the court, he greeted Su Long. "Su Long, wait for me to pass the ball." Su Long smiled and said, "Ha, di go." At this time, Li Yi was still a young man, and he did not yet have the name of the emperor, and he said with a puzzled face, "Why do you call me brother emperor?" Su Long smiled in his heart, "Because the emperor you protect the ball like Henry." After Wang Hao left the scene, the aura of the Dragon Kingdom immediately changed. Originally, there were two voices in the team, and they couldn't be twisted together. Now that Wang Hao is gone, then there is only Su Long, the enterprising faction on Jingji's side. Under the leadership of Su Long and Jingji, the Dragon Country team fought back. Huang Jianxiang's voice was hoarse and excited. Bahrain's constant forward attack has left a huge hole in the back line. Here it comes, Su Long steal. Steal successful. Pass the ball. It's Xiao Jiayi. Xiao Jiayi is very fast. Bahrain's number 4 and number 6 bags have come, crossed. Good ball, Jingji's header is on goal. It's in. Entered. Jingji's goal. 3-1, 58 minutes, Jingji scored. From Su Long's steal, to Xiao Jiayi's cross, to Jingji's header, a very perfect goal. The fans in front of the TV all stood up. The Dragon Country fans in the stadium also stood up suddenly. There was a sea of red everywhere, as if it were the new year. Today is the festival of Dragon Country fans. Dragon Country, come on. Jingji, come on. Su Long, come on. Wang Hao's face on the sidelines was very ugly, and the little brothers around him didn't know what to say. The national team is going to change the day. The 2002 Dragon Country Footballer of the Year came to the national team to play defenders. Who would have thought that Su Long came here and directly turned the sky upside down? This is the difference between Sun Monkey and Giro God. At the end of the day, football is ultimately about strength. Under absolute power, any conspiracy is a floating cloud. Jingji turned back to celebrate with Xiao Jiayi and Su Long, and the other teammates rushed up. Jingji, you cow then good ball, just play like this. Kill the fucking Bahrain. In the 75th minute, Xiao Jiayi, who had made great achievements, was replaced by Sun Jihai's booing. The hero of the third goal was replaced. Even the on-site commentary was questioning. Alihan's substitution is very controversial. It is only 75 minutes now, anything can happen. Is it too risky to replace Xiao Jiayi now? Xiao Jiayi is so much of a threat on the field, I really can't understand Alihan's operation. No matter how big Sun Jihai's name is, he can't change it like this, and it is better to replace others than to change Xiao Jiayi. I really don't understand. When Sun Ji was on the sea, he looked at Alihan with disdain. He despises such a manager the most. This does not require him to play. Isn't that a pit yourself? What Alihan means is that you Dalian gang have gone out of the limelight. Take into account the feelings of the players of other factions. However, Sun Jihai, as a benchmark for players who stay in foreign countries, cannot fail to do so. Su Long can't change, then change Xiao Jiayi. Because there was no one behind Xiao Jiayi. Sun Jihai shook his head and slapped Xiao Jia at the end. Jiayi, Alihan is sick again, no way. Xiao Jia smiled and said, Jihai, don't talk nonsense, it's good for me to take a break. After the end of the game, Wang Hao on the side said sarcastically, what is the use of playing well? It is not the same as the replacement. Xiao Jia shook his head. The situation on the field suddenly changed, and Sun Jihai quickly created a threat after he came on the field. He cut off Bahrain's pass and passed it to Su Long. Su Long made a cross to the emperor on the periphery of the forbidden area. The emperor swung around a bamboo and swirled the ball directly out of bounds. Su Long could only applaud, Digo, good ball, good ball. Li Yi raised his hand in embarrassment, my. Although Li Yi was a bit of a pit, he fought a lot, and at the end of the game, he and Sun Jihai successfully stealed. The ball reached Su Long's feet. Su Long turned around and plunged straight into the forbidden area. Due to the speed and too hard body, the defender defending Su Long was directly knocked away. Oh my god. Su Long is like a cow, rampage. The Bahrain goalkeeper came out and he scored only one goal in the qualifiers, but this game he was penetrated by our Dragon Nation. Look at Su Long's ball, his ball was blocked by the goalkeeper. But Sun Jihai's replenishment shot in. Scored. 4-1. Sun Jihai is very calm. Oh my god, 4-1, our Dragon Kingdom beat Bahrain. Sun Jihai smiled and clapped Su Lai. I didn't expect to play in 80 minutes and score a goal. Fortunately, it is an empty door. 5 minutes later, 90+3, the referee blew the end of the game whistle. At the end of the game, we Dragon Kingdom beat Bahrain 4-1 and won 3 points. Oh my god, who would have thought of such an outcome before the game? I can only say that the Dragon national team played too well today. Hey Fizi, let your dandruff have nowhere to hide. The most recent player of this game sponsored by Hey Fizi is Su Long. Our 18-year-old talented player in Longwa was the MVP in his first official match for the national team. It's really a talented teenager who is transferred to a Premier League team for £10 million. The future of our Dragon Kingdom is mapped. After the game, Alihan participated in the media interview, and Alihan replied with a smile, the addition of Su Long has made our team more powerful. For Su Long, there are other player placement arrangements, Alihan said. I pay more attention to the performance of the team, our concentration and fighting spirit make me very satisfied, and I do not despise the opponent. I believe that continuing to move forward will become stronger and stronger. Su Long also accepted the interview, did not mention too many real things, said that everything was very satisfied, and expressed understanding of Alihan's arrangement. After watching Su Long's interview on TV, Su Dad immediately gave a phone call to Su Long. Son, play well. Keep up the good work. Okay. After Su Long hung up the phone, he made a cross-ocean call to his girlfriend Chloe. Su, the game is so exciting. Eurosport on our side also has a live broadcast. Oops, blame you, don't take me to the Dragon Kingdom. I want to eat Dragon Country food. The next day, the leader Li Xiao found Wang Hao. Wang Hao, what's wrong with you? This is our national game, with dim sum, not so many personal grudges. Wang Hao said in a deep voice, Leader Li, I really can't play. It could have been a 3-0 win. You see this Su Long, just because he is so embarrassed by us as the main players, he does not listen to discipline. Our Dragon national team is now messing around with him, only to score 2 goals. Li Xiao smiled, do you think I'm blind? 2 balls have at least 1 ball, and you are half responsible. If it weren't for your seniority and strength, Lao Tzu would have kicked you out long ago. Li Xiao sighed and said, Wang Hao, at this time, the overall situation is important, and other things can be discussed later. Wang Hao snorted and said, I really can't fight, Li Ling. He yells at me in front of so many people. What am I? Hey, our work is not done well, but he can't move, his back is on top, you know? Wang Hao shook his head and said, forget it, since he is so powerful, then it is always okay for me to be injured, right? Li Xiao looked at Wang Hao and said, you think clearly, the next game is against Indonesia. Indonesia is notoriously a weak team, and when the Dragon Kingdom Prince Ni is 4 or 5 balls. Wang Hao hesitated, but still shook his head and said, my feet have been uncomfortable since this game. I suspect that the old injury has returned. I want to go to check it. Alright, there you go. July 20th, 2004, on the eve of the second match of the group stage, was reported by major sports media. Wang Hao, the main striker of the Longwa national team, is injured and absent from the next game, and the Longwa national team will face a severe test. Early this morning, the reporter met Wang Hao at the hotel where the national team was staying. The main striker of the national team introduced quite helplessly, this kind of injury usually has no problem walking at all, that is, it cannot accelerate and cannot sprint. When it will be completely good, I can't say, take your time to see, I will actively cooperate with the treatment. The spokesman of the Football Association also seemed worried. My news here is that Wang Hao may really not be able to play the next game, and the specific situation is not easy to say. Look at the recovery. The prospects of the Dragon national team are definitely not optimistic. Everyone has seen this game, although they have won, but there are always some unpredictable factors at work, cannot be proud. Su Long saw the newspaper and learned that Wang Hao had injured the paper. Sun Jihai shook his head and said, Wang Hao is such a person, but if he can't fight, he won't be provoked. Don't pay attention to him, it's better if he doesn't make trouble here. On July 21, 2004, the Dragon Nation team faced Indonesia at the Workers' Stadium in its own imperial capital. The Dragon Country fans of the Workers' Stadium were cheering and waving the red flag in their hands. The big victory in the last game made the morale of the Dragon Country fans great. The live commentary also said that today's ratings are even higher than the last game. Everyone is watching this game. That's how many goals the Dragon Nation team can score. Episode 74, The Holocaust, The Great Fourth Happy. In the dressing room, Su Long's eyes widened. Unexpectedly, the top boss of the Football Association brought a group of senior FA executives to the dressing room and held a pre-match meeting. Now it's not a final, do you need to be so grand? After the speech, the top boss of the Football Association also patted Su Long's shoulder, very friendly. This game, cheer everyone. The eyes of everyone looking at Su Long were different. Isn't that obviously related? Su Long himself did not understand, this big guy is not surnamed Su. Wang Hao, who went to the hospital for treatment, learned that the big guy had gone to the locker room, and it seemed that he really had something to do with Su Long, and his face was suddenly ugly. CCVV5, friends of the audience, welcome to the 13th Asian Cup in China in 2004, and now we are watching the second match of the group stage at the Workers' Stadium in Longwa Daijing, Longwa against Indonesia. Su Long on our side still started today, but Wang Hao missed today's game due to injury and replaced it with Sun Jihai's debut. This also shows that in the last game, Sun Jihai's performance in the last 10 minutes impressed coach Ali Han. Let's also see what kind of performance Sun Jihai and Su Long, two players who will become teammates in the Premier League, have today. Due to the care of the big guys, Ali Han wisely changed Su Long back to the forward position and Sun Jihai to the defender position. Sun Jihai understands very well that he can start because of the credit of his little brother. Under the introduction of the live commentary, the players on both sides walked out of the player passage. When Su Long appeared in front of everyone's eyes, the audience erupted into a burst of warm applause and cheers. Many fans don't quite understand what the Bundesliga and the Toulon Cup are, but in the Asian Cup held at their home, even many viewers who are not fans have seen it. In the first game, Su Long's performance conquered the audience across the country. Even pseudo-fans who don't understand the ball can see that Su-060 Dragon is different. Everyone is looking forward to the goal of the Dragon national team, looking forward to the performance of Su Long. However, Su Long did not make the audience wait too long. In the second minute, Su Long's long-range shot from the outside of the penalty area hit the goal and bounced out. The spectators in the stands cheered. The on-site commentary Zhang Jun and Huang Jianxiang both exclaimed. It's just a little bit. It's a pity. You see Indonesian goalkeeper Hendro Ketiko, who is experienced, quick and very brave in his game, and Butters, known as Indonesian, also did not react. Su Long shook his head and turned back to defend. For the next 20 minutes, the Dragon team completely pressed the Indonesian team to play. Indonesia's goal is buzzing, but Indonesia seems to have no way to do it. I wanted to organize, but I was always destroyed by Sun Jihai, Jing Ji, Zhou Haibing and others on the Dragon Kingdom. In the 23rd minute, Sun Jihai made a successful steal and passed the ball to Jing Ji, who was inserted in front. Jing Ji catches the ball. Very clean and neat crossing. I have to say that in the first game, Su Long's position moved backwards, and Jing Ji was together, cultivating a very good tacit understanding. Even now that Su Long returned to the forward position, Jing Ji also found Su Long at once. Jing Ji crossed with a big foot, watching the ball fall in the air. Su Long's instep lightly touched, and easily stopped the ball successfully. Following the football, Lien Ren squeezed the Indonesian defenders around him with the ball, and in the blink of an eye, he quickly entered the box. At this time, the angle of the goal facing Su Long was already very small, but Su Long shot hard and still scored the ball. Good ball. Oh my god, calm, deadly, like a poisonous snake, it's a dragon. Su Long is the dragon of our Dragon nation. We watched the recording again. His shooting angle was already very small, almost blocked by the goalkeeper and the defender, but Su Long still scored the ball. 5 minutes, 1-0. Su Long rushed towards Jing Ji and opened his arms. The two hug and celebrate. When Su Long returned to his forward position, Jing Ji's eyes were full of envy and he sighed slightly. Ali Han once told Jing Ji in person that if he played at center back, he would become the best center back in the world. But if you play the front waist, there will not be too high achievements, and there are too many good front waists in Europe. At that time, although Jing Ji obeyed Ali Han's arrangement, he did not believe Ali Han's judgment of himself in his heart. But now see Su Long stop to shoot action. He knew that under the intensity of the game, he could not do it as easily as Su Long. There is a gap between himself and Su Long, not to mention those famous forwards and forwards. At this time, Jing Ji began to face Ali Han's evaluation of himself. Perhaps, as Ali Han said, he has everything in the center-back position, understands football, good header ability, very balanced left and right feet, excellent sense of position, is a good defender. After playing the Asian Cup well, I also want to play abroad. Su Long is 18 years old in the Premier League, I am already 23 years old, still in the Dragon country, this is not okay. The Indonesian coach on the sidelines covered his head and looked at Su Long. There was no way this was not cheating. The value of the entire Indonesian team does not add up to 1/10 of that of the Su Long. What else to kick? In the 29th minute, Su Long made an oblique pass to the penalty area in front of the penalty area, and Xiao Jia stepped forward and directly shot furiously. It's in. Su Long's assist. Beautiful. 2-0. Su Long passed beautifully, and Xiao Jia was beautiful when he shot it. The Indonesian goalkeeper angrily scolded the defender, "What are you 3 or 4 guys doing together, are you playing cards?" The three defenders were both angry and speechless, glared at Su Long deadly, and went to serve. Su Long shrugged, "This is not to blame me, who told you to want to wrap my dumplings?" Xiao Jia rushed up and hugged Su Long tightly. Su Long smiled and said, "Good ball." The Dragon Country players raised their hands together to celebrate, and then returned to their respective positions. In the 38th minute, Su Long once again received a long pass from Jingji at the front of the penalty area and crossed it to Xiao Jia's feet. "Good ball." Xiao Jia shot at goal. Entered. Indonesia's defenders have made big mistakes one after another, all to defend Su Long, the others don't have to defend? This also shows that Su Long's threat is too great. 3-0, all three balls are related to Su Long, and I can only say that Su Long's overall view of the big picture is too good. He had weighed everything up and made the best choice when he jumped. At this time, not only the Indonesian goalkeeper scolded, even in the midfield, the striker was complaining. A striker only, does it need to be this way? However, 2 minutes later, Su Long stole the pass from the opposite backline. This time, there was only one defender defending Su Long, and Su Long quickly passed the defender and directly took the ball into the box. Here it is again, Su Long is here again. An ugly gate. Good ball. Su Long took a provocative shot and pushed the ball into the goal, a perfect shot. 4-0. The Indonesian players are infighting. Striker, midfielder said, "You guys are such rubbish?" The defender said, "I can't stop him, or will you come?" The goalkeeper said, "One can't work, then 2 or 3. The defender said, "It's you saying we're playing cards again." Soon, the halftime whistle sounded, and the Indonesian players breathed a sigh of relief that the Dragon side did not score another goal. At halftime 4-0, Indonesian fans did not dare to look at it again, always feeling that a tragedy would happen. And the fans of Dragon Country are partying and cheering. The second half began, and the two sides fought again. Ali Han replaced Jingji with Zhang Yaokuan. Su Long suddenly felt that the rear defense line was sending shells to itself with a lot less frequency, although Zhang Yaokuan's body is also very strong, but on the all-round or Jingji all-round 71st minute, Long was corner. Sun Jihai to send this corner kick. Inside the restricted area. Su Long topped the ball, it's in. Short stature, poor header is the weak link of Indonesian players. Su Long jumped high, Indonesian defenders have no way at all. From the slow-motion shot, you can see that the height at which Su Long jumped up, and his knees had to reach the chest of the other party. 5-0. Su Long hat-trick. What an 18-year-old hat-trick. It was amazing, it was amazing. The fans cheered. Su Long was also suddenly full of energy. The body, which had just begun to be a little tired, suddenly became full of strength. Activate the Capworn Killer feature, strength +10, damage reduction +20%. Not long after, Xiao Jiai passed into the penalty area, Su Long received the ball, and was pushed by the Indonesian player. Overlord feature activation, the Indonesian player was bounced off, Su Long was pushed, stabbed in the foot, and Shuncher stabbed the ball into the goal. It's in. 6-0. Oh my god, Su Long is crazy. Happy senior year. 18-year-old senior high, Su Long broke the Asian Cup record. Unexpectedly, the second half had just begun, and Su Long scored 2 goals. According to his experience in China, the Football Association does not like individual ideas, likes to talk about the collective. But well, in today's locker room, the big guy is very optimistic about Su Long's appearance. Ali Han hesitated, but still did not replace Su Long. Or respect the opinions of the big guys. Activate the Capworn Killer feature, strength +10, damage reduction +20%. Su Long ecstasy. In less than 10 minutes, the buff effect of the Hood Killer is continuously stacked. Originally, the strength was 66, and suddenly it was increased by 20. In the 85th minute, Su Long received the ball again, a turn, and the Indonesian player behind him sat directly on the ground. Then the second defender was pushed away by Su Long. The onside commentary Huang Jianxiang roared in a hoarse voice, "Su Long is like a tank, crushing into the Indonesian penalty area, and the defenders along the way are crooked and falling. Oh my god, what kind of body is this? It's been 85 minutes, Su Long is still so brave, this is the talent. Su Long shot hard, oh my god. Hit the goalkeeper in the face, snap." The sound was even captured by the microphone for live commentary. The fans who were watching the game were all shivering. It hurts to listen to the sounds. The Indonesian goalkeeper fell to the ground in an instant, and Su Long made up for the success. Indonesian players are dumbfounded, and Dragon players are dumbfounded. The fans on the sidelines erupted in cheers like never before. The referee blew the goal effectively. Episode 75, the hope of all Dragon Country fans. The goal worked. 7-0. Oh my god, Su Long 5 balls, Shoga. This is the second time in the history of our national football team that the fifth son has dinka. It is also the first time in the history of the Asian Cup that 5 sons have boarded. Let's congratulate Su Long. The Indonesian goalkeeper had a concussion and was carried straight out. Sun Jihai patted Su Long's shoulder and said, Su Long, yes, you have directly knocked the goalkeeper on the opposite side off the field. The teammates looked at Su Long differently. The Indonesian side has a new goalkeeper and just made a mistake on the serve. The power of the serve was weak, the ball speed was too slow, and it was successfully countersnatched by Su Long. Su Long pushed away the defender next to him and grabbed the ball at once. The next second, Su Long was shoved by another Indonesian player. Beep. The referee whistled. Oh. Indonesian team's mistake. Su Long was shoved from behind by Indonesian players. Penalty. This must be a penalty, oh my god. Su Long was not injured, right? He sat on the ground, and it looked like there wasn't much of a problem with his expression, and he stood up. It's all right. The on-site commentary breathed a sigh of relief. Longwa had a genius ball and certainly did not want to be injured in such a game. Ali Han was also shocked. If the replacement quota was not full, he would replace Su Long off the field. This penalty, of course, Su Long did not let go, directly to the penalty point. Dragon Country players, you look at me, I look at you, Sun Jihai said directly. Su Long, you made a penalty, you come to penalty. Originally, there were a few people who wanted to open their mouths, but when they heard Sun Jihai say this, they didn't speak. It was Su Long's penalty. If he scored, he would be the first player in the history of the national football team to score 6 goals in a single game, and the first in the history of the Asian Cup. It depends on whether Su Long can be punished. Su Long withdrew from the distance of 3 meters, took a deep breath, started, raised his feet and kicked the ball, all in one go. The substitute goalkeeper on the opposite side caught Su Long's ball, but the ball was too fast for him to block, and the ball directly crashed into the dead corner. Good ball. The perfect goal before the end. 8-0. Congratulations Su Long, the old Renji. By the way, what's the name of 6 goals? 6 or 6 Big Shun? Haha, just kidding. Because more than 6 balls is too little, so there is no special statement. We congratulate Su Long. Congratulations to the national team. After this match, Dragon Kingdom has secured 6 points to ensure that it reaches the quarterfinals. Amid the laughter of Zhang Jun and Huang Jianxiang on the spot, the game came to an end. The Indonesian player left in despair. And the Dragon Country fans have long been reluctant to leave. Dragon Country 8 goals hit Indonesia, Su Long scored 6 goals. 8-0, the worker body set off a red storm, Su Long 6 balls to create history. Tianya Forum, Sina Football, and even the 2004 Tiger Punch with only basketball plates are full of Asian Cup and Su Long posts. This week was a day of ecstasy for Dragon Country fans. The first call Su Long received was Chloe's. The brown-haired girlfriend's voice was excited, happy for Su Long. Su, I've saved the video of this game. I have decided, the next Asian Cup, I must come to Dragon Country. Don't scare me with your uncles and aunts, I'm not afraid. Su Long smiled. The next Asian Cup is not held by the Dragon Country again. But did Chloe want to see her parents? Then there was Supa's mother's phone. The phone can also hear the excitement of Su Dad and Su Ma asked Su Long with concern whether he was injured in the game. Su Long smiled and said, small things, I have not been afraid of the more ruthless people I have encountered in the Bundesliga. Indonesians can't. Mama Su sighed on the phone, saying that it was so dangerous or not to play football, no matter how much money was not enough to be healthy. Su Long cried and laughed. Is this a matter of more money? It's a problem with too much money. After hanging up his parents' phone, the head coach Knet's phone also came, saying that Su Long played well, but be careful not to get hurt, Manchester City need a healthy you. Su Long smiled, and it seemed that his performance in the Asian Cup continued to prove himself. Well, after the new season, at least the manager is supportive. What Su Long did not expect was that even OE's head coach Golder called, mainly congratulations to Su Long, and then chatted about the players of the national team. After hanging up the phone, Su Long thought to himself, do OE want players in the national team? It seems a bit difficult. It's just that these things are not Su Long's profession. Su Long called Su Gao and told him that he didn't pay attention to these things. After the game, after a day of rest and going to the training base again, Ali Han came to ask Su Long's opinion and asked Su Long if he would miss the next game. The main purpose is to protect Su Long from being injured, and at the same time give more opportunities for other teammates to train. After all, the quarterfinals in the back and the games in the back have no chance to train. Since head coach Ali Handu personally asked Su Long, of course expressed understanding and obedience. Ali Han secretly wiped his sweat and breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately Su Long did not turn his face and did not know whether the first 2 games gave the Dragon Country national team confidence. In the match against Qatar 3 days later, the Dragon Country national team beat Qatar 3-0. Jing Ji, Xiao Jiai, and Li each scored a goal. Su Long watched the whole game on the bench and suddenly found that the Emperor still had something. Mainly plug and play, the warm-up is fast, although it is a substitute, but it can maintain the state. As for Shigechi and Jingji, it goes without saying that one 0-2 Dragon Country Footballer of the Year and the other joined the Bundesliga team last year. Su Long also now knows that Sagai was originally in Munich in the Bundesliga in 1860, but last year was injured, and the upper part of the base body has been played. In this way, Dragon Kingdom won all 3 battles in the Group A group stage and advanced as the first place. Domestic fans are wondering if this Asian Cup Dragon Kingdom can play the final. In the Tianya Forum, Sina Forum, Tiaba above, all domestic football sections are discussing the Asian Cup. Listening to Chloe, there are also many people in Europe watching the Asian Cup. Su Long didn't believe it at all. It must be the little sister who is pleasing herself. In the major forums in China, the current fans are very nervous, and some people even directly say that it is no problem to win the championship. There are also many sane fans who say that they should not be too ambitious, and they can just play one ball after another. Some reporters wanted to interview Su Long, but Su Long refused. Su Long knew that he could not speak much, and it was better to talk less on occasions like the national team. As long as Ali Han continues to support himself, he can play and win. July 30th at 9 p.m. The Workers' Stadium, under the night, is full of red dragon flags. The fans of Dragon Country who came to watch the game were so enthusiastic that they were already cheering and shouting before the game even began. Su Long had already entered the stadium, looked at the passionate Dragon Country fans, and said to Sun Jihai next to him, "It's almost a team song." Sun Jihai smiled and said, "Yes, Su Long, did you have your own song when you were in OE? Well, it seems to be, but I don't pay much attention." Sun Jihai smiled and said, "That's also true, I also have my own song at Manchester City." Su Long sighed, "It would be great if Dragon Country fans also came to a song." Sun Jihai looked at the stand, as if he saw through the future, and muttered to himself, "There will be later." CCVV5, CCVV5, audience friends, I am Lu Jianhong. I am Han Xiaoxing. Welcome to the quarterfinals of the 13th China Asian Cup at the end of 2004. We Dragon Nation against Iraq. Iraq is one of the best teams in Asia, and we have to be careful not to be careless. Their striker Y Mohammed is very dangerous. In the qualifiers, the Iraqi striker was the best player in Kuala Lumpur's 5-1 win over Bahrain, where Y Mohammed scored 4 goals and 3 goals in Manama's 5-1 win over Malaysia. Of course, our players on the Dragon Country side are not inferior, and the young talented player Su Long is the best player in the Asian Cup so far. Under the on-site commentary of Han Xiaoxing and Lu Jianhong's words, the game began. Dragon fans cheered for the national team. In their opinion, the Iraqi team was not as strong as the live commentary and the media. From the beginning of the game, it fell into the downwind in the confrontation of the Dragon national team. In the opening 2 minutes, Longhua almost took the lead. After Su Long received a long pass from Sun Jihai at the back, the anti-offside position was successful. Su Long's shot in the penalty area, while pushing away the defender, still hit the top of the goal frame and directly popped out of bounds. Su Long shook his head, "This door frame is poisonous." Even the onside commentary sighed for Su Long. "It's a little bit of luck." Yes, Su Long seems to have to hit the door frame every game. Maybe the next goal will open. The midfielder, composed of Sokechi and Zayajuns, was very fierce in this game. It seems that the group stage game gave him confidence. Su Long could feel that the spirit of the whole team had become different. The Iraqi side was under the pressure of the Dragon Nation, and the midfielders did not have the opportunity to take the ball, and kept passing the ball to the back. Even so, it was a mistake. In the 8th minute, Su Long successfully snatched at the opposite backfield and immediately scored an oblique pass into the box. Su Long's pass, Shoga countered offside successfully. Shoga kept plugging into the box and very calmly scored the first goal of the game in front of the goalkeeper. 1-0. The fans in the stands cheered, like the sound of the waves, wave after wave. Shoga ran over and high-fived Su Long. Su Long looked at the Iraqi players, a little strange, how to feel powerless. What's going on here? Su Long couldn't understand what had happened to the Iraqi team. Maybe it was related to other countries? No matter what, you can fight as you want. In the 25th minute, Su Long broke through with the ball, and a long-range shot was faked outside the big penalty area, deceiving Iraqi defenders and dribbling the ball straight into the box. Facing the goalkeeper who pounced out, Su Long kicked lightly, and the ball directly hit the right side of the dead. Su Long breathed a sigh of relief. This time the doorframe finally did not oppose himself. The fans in the stands raised their arms and shouted. Su Long never let them down. Champions! Dragon Country, champions! Su Long 6, Episode 76, The Iron Horse of Persia, the legend ends. Wonderful goal. This is the top 5 games of the Asian Cup, right? It's too delicate footwork. This fake action is not something that ordinary players can do. The entire Iraqi backline was teased by Su Long. Su Long's tight defense this time attracted the attention of the Iraqi backline. But in the face of the situation surrounded by 3 or 4 people, Su Long was already very skilled. Even when training, there is training. Although Ali Han is not a world-class coach, he also has basic tactical qualities. In Su Long's view, Ali Han's strength is probably similar to OE's head coach Geld. I heard that Ali Han started from the head coach of the first division. Such tactical literacy is not to say that it is very powerful, but it is no problem to specify simple tactics. When Su Long was surrounded, Xiao Jiai and the others should immediately step forward. The Iraqi team had only 2 options, turning back to chase the 3 men flying in unison, and the bag was lifted. The second option is to eat the poison that Su Long passed on. In Su Long's view, both were poisons, just to see which one died faster. At this time, the Iraqi players chose to be fierce so that Su Long's ball could not be passed out. Su Long had a Marseille maneuver and broke their plan. This was followed by a quick pass that was accurately passed into the penalty area and almost caused the goal. Xiao Jiai's shot was slightly offside. Su Long applauded and gave encouragement to his teammates. Xiao Jiai's face was full of chagrin. Su Long smiled and said, "It's almost a little bit. We'll definitely be able to enter next time." In the 37th minute, Su Long passed Xiao Jiai again, and the Iraqi team had to eat this poison in order to prevent Su Long. But after Xiao Jiai cut inside the penalty area, facing the goalkeeper who pounced out, he did not shoot, but crossed out. Xing Ji, who ran from one end of the goal to the other, shot the ball into the empty goal. The Dragon Country players cheered and celebrated together. The fans in the stands cheered too. This kind of cooperation is so exciting. Xing Ji breathlessly went back to defense. Su Long gave Xing Ji a thumbs up. The almighty warrior is really strong. At this time, the other 3 defenders looked at Xing Ji, who came back. Could he also properly insert himself? Iraq's defenders shook their heads and never dared to pack Shuren again. As a result, Su Long was liberated. In the first 5 minutes of the second half, Su Long ate the opposite right back, directly past, and then entered the penalty area. The goalkeepers on the opposite side have become frightened birds, do not dare to come out, and are directly shot by Su Long. Good ball. Iraq was beaten to the point of total lack of morale, 3-0. All 3 balls are related to Su Long. I have a hunch that this Asian Cup will become a classic. The stands have become a sea of red. At this time, you can see the horror aura of the home field. Su Long. Dragon Country. Champion. In the 77th minute, the opponent made a mistake in breaking a long pass from Xing Ji, and the ball landed right in front of Xiao Jiai. Iraq made a mistake. Xiao Jiai's ball. Xiao Jiai repeatedly sent it out to Su Long, and Su Long gently unloaded it, and then pushed it. It's in. Su Long may open twice. The ball hit the far left corner and the Iraqi goalkeeper couldn't save. Su Long can be said to be the most delicate Dragon Country player I have ever talked about in front of the goal, and he is not weaker than European players at all. 4-0. No one would have thought of such an outcome before the race started. It didn't take long for Ali Han to directly replace Su Long. The stands erupted in applause and cheers. Ali Han greeted Su Long on the sidelines. "Su, I replaced you to protect you, and now that you're in the lead, there's no need to take any risks." After that, the Iraqi team was already angry and began to foul up frequently, and even the 2 sides quarreled. Ali Han showed a wise look and smiled and said, "Fortunately, I had expected it." Su Long suddenly felt that this Dutch old man was a little funny. In the end, Iraq still did not score a face-saving goal, 0-4 Hate Worker Stadium. After the game, the reporter interviewed Ali Han and Su Long. Ali Han smiled and said, "Su Long is the most consistent player in our team." Speaking about the prospects for the Asian Cup, Ali Han smiled and said, "I am not a god, I will not predict the outcome of the game, but I can guarantee that the Dragon national team will do its best. Play a great game." Su Long also smiled and said, "Yes, we will definitely work hard." The Dragon Country team is notoriously poor in psychological quality, and Su Long does not want to give such a lot of pressure to his teammates, so let's play the next game first. After winning Iraq, Dragon fans were thrilled. Not only the fans of Longhua, but even the players inside the national football team are very excited. The next game is the semi-finals. But the opponent is Iran. Speaking of Iran, the crowd was silent. Su Long asked son Jihai strangely, "Brother Jihai, is there anything special about Iran? Have you heard of the Golden State Massacre?" Su Long shook his head. "What about Ali Dai?" "Oh, I think I've heard of this name." Sun Jihai shook his head and said, "You are still too young." Su Long did not understand Sun Jihai's words, but from the reaction of the whole team and the reaction of the coach, the next game against Iran was a hard battle. In the evening, Su Long called his father doubtfully. Dad is an old fan and should know what Sun Jihai is talking about. Su Dad heard Su Long's question on the phone, smiled and said, to put it simply, from 97 years to now, our matches with Iran, for full losses, are about to be put out of the shadows, and the core player of these 4 games is Ali Day. Our dragon people are called Persian Iron Horse. Persian Iron Horse? Sounds like a tough one. Of course, he was the best player in Asia in 2000, he played in Bayern Munich, he is arguably a legend of Asian football and I heard that it will be his last Asian Cup. Su Long nodded and said, but listening to you say that, he is very old, 34 years old and 35 years old. What are you afraid of? The fist is afraid of being young. Su Long heard Ali Day's age, and thought to himself, will not be an Asian see Ronaldo, 34 years old and 35 years old and strong? This can't help but be prevented. Su Dad smiled and said, yes, Su Long, come on, cross the Iranian corpse, it's the final. Although Su Long despised the enemy strategically, he attached great importance to tactics. The next day of training, Ali Han asked Su Long to play back-to-the-back position, and Jing Ji and Li Weifeng once again formed a combination of defensive meat grinders. Sun Jihai asked Su Long, you agreed like this? Su Long shook his head and said, he's the head coach, he said this is okay, then you can. Although Ali Han is a bit of a pit, but how to say that it is also the head coach, as a team member does not openly shout with the head coach, this is not encouragement, it is professionalism. Moreover, Su Long can play the back of the back, and if he really attacks, he and Jing Ji can still fly together. With the shooting technique of the Dragon Country front, maybe Su Long can really pick up the leak. August 3rd at 10 p.m. Due to the previous game overtime, there were penalties, which led to the delay of the game of Dragon vs Iran by an hour. Although the sky is dark, the fans in the stands are still enthusiastic. As far as the eye can see, the Workers' Stadium is full of red Dragon flags. Before the game even started, you could hear the fans shouting the slogan of the Dragon Country Championship. Su Long waited in the player channel, looking curiously at the Iranian team, who is Ali Day. See an uncle in a number 10 jersey. The two men looked at each other. Both smiled slightly. Su Long thought in his heart, is this uncle? When he walked out of the stadium, Su Long saw that behind the number 10 uncle jersey, it was the English of the 2 words of Dai. This is the Asian legend Ali Day. Su Long has decided that the position he is standing on in this game is the back, and the task is to kill him. The starters walked onto the pitch and the game was ready to begin. Ali Day moved his body and looked at the rear of the Dragon Country team, a little puzzled that Dragon Country number 9, how did he stand behind? CCVV5, audience friends, welcome to the semi-finals of the 13th China Asian Cup at the end of 2004. We Dragon Nation against Iran. Iran qualified for the final round of the Asian Cup with the first place in Group D, and as a 3-time Asian Cup champion, Iran naturally aspires to achieve satisfactory results in this Asian Cup. Iran's starting striker Ali Day is very familiar to us. He is the oldest player in the Iranian squad and he is also the team's top scorer in the group stage, scoring 94 goals in the national team, the most goals scored for the national team in the world. Although Dai is very old, he is still in good health, and in addition, Ali Day's air superiority is dangerous. We can see that Su Long's position has changed to the back again, and his task today is to restrain Ali Day. Hopefully Coach Alihan's tactical arrangements today will bear fruit. The on-site commentary saw the change in the lineup of the Dragon Country team and did not know what to say. 2.5. Isn't that? Kick the Bundesliga top scorer to the backcourt? Put 02 Footballer of the Year, the best forward in the Dragon Country, to play at central defender. Both on-site commentators wanted to scold people. But now the Dragon Nation team has always had a full record of victory after the knockout round, and they also believe in Ali Han. In the 5th minute, Iran got a very threatening chance. Iran got a good free kick and they were looking for Ali Day. One kick into the box. From the sound of the on-site commentary, you can hear a trace of trembling, which shows the deterrent power of Ali Day. But the next second, the sound of the live commentary becomes light and joyful. Su Long's fight for the top, put the ball out. Oh my god, he won. Ali Day. Overlord feature activation. Su Long landed on the ground, just opposite Ali Day's 4 eyes. Ali Day looked at Su Long in surprise, he did not expect Su Long to have such a huge power and pushed himself away. This young man of the Dragon Kingdom will be Iran's biggest enemy for the next 10 years. Su Long smiled, is this an Asian legend? The power is greater than the average Asian player, but it can't beat my hegemonic body today, and the legend is coming to an end. Episode 77, The Inheritance of Asian Legends, the Tyrannosaurus? Of the Dragon Kingdom. In the 31st minute, Su Long once again cut off Ali Day's ball. This time Ali was very cautious, turned around to protect the ball, and kicked the ball back to his teammates behind him. He wiped the sweat from his forehead, another good opportunity just now, lost at his feet. Ali Dai looked at Su Long not far away and felt that he was really old. If I had been 5 years younger, I would never have been as embarrassed as I am now. Be careful, ha-ho. Suddenly, a roar appeared behind him. Ali Dai had an ominous premonition, and looking back, his teammate had been robbed. Sun Jihai of the Dragon Kingdom kicked the ball with a kick, and the ball reached Xiao Jiai's feet. Good ball. Dragon Kingdom strikes back again. Ali Dai's face suddenly changed drastically, and he quickly reached out to grasp Su Long's jersey. In the previous few defensive counterattacks, Su Long ran from this goal to the other side of the goal, and he couldn't help but follow, running him breathlessly. How can he run like this with an 18-year-old when he's 35 years old? Overlord feature activation. Ali Dai slipped on his foot and fell to the ground, looking up at Su Long, whose shirt had been torn up, and had already run to the front court. Watch out for number 9. Ali Dai roared in anger and quickly got up to defend himself. As Xiao Jia brought the ball to the front of the box, the defenders of the Igwa team waited in line. Suddenly, Xiao Jia crossed one by one, and everyone looked at the middle road. A sturdy figure suddenly appeared. The Iraqi players suddenly showed a frightened look. When did Su Long appear here? Behind him was Ali Dai and another defensive player. But they couldn't catch up with Su Long. Su Long touched the ball with one foot, light 13 light unloading force, and the ball stopped firmly on the foot. The fans in the stands suddenly cheered. You can even hear a few of the girls' screams. Xiao Jiai's pass, Su Long received the ball, he broke through with the ball, crashed into the defender, and entered the box. Good ball. It's in. A push in the far corner, very calm, killer-like intuition. 37 minutes, Su Long's first chip. 1-0, it was also his 11th goal at the Asian Cup. My God, he has broken the personal single-time goal record that Ali Dai set at the 1996 Asian Cup. Let's congratulate Su Long. Ali Dai looked at Su Long's goal and had a feeling of a hero's end. The back wave of the Yangtze River pushes the front wave, which is the eternal theme of the arena. Ali said to his teammates, you guys are going to give me a defense, he is fighting back, I can't stop it. At this time it is not the time to hold on to yourself, you have fallen behind, and if you want to fight back, you must first hold down the point of Su Long. Su Long turned back and slapped Xiao Jia, good pass. +1, haha, your shot is better, how did your jersey suck? Su Long found that one side of his jersey had torn off, revealing the muscles of half of his body. Whether it is on the field or at home, the girls are screaming when they see this scene. At this time, the referee signaled Su Long to change his clothes. The fourth man on the sidelines was already waiting with his new shirt. Su Long rushed to change and then returned to his defensive position to continue defending Ali Dai. With no other choice, Ali Dai had to change his strategy and use his height in an attempt to use it as a transit station to pass the ball to the feet of his teammates. However, Ali Dai was horrified to find that he had fallen behind in the confrontation with Su Long. Ali Dai's many attacks were blocked by Su Long. The audience cheered. Ali Dai felt old. This Asian Cup is really his last Asian Cup. After the Dragon Kingdom had the advantage, he habitually retracted his defense, and Su Long suddenly roared, up, how to score one goal so conservatively. Xiao Jia, Jingji, and others, under the influence of Su Long, began to watch the entire team press the Igwa team to play. The second half was just 3 minutes into the game and ushered in a turning point in the game. Xiao Jia was pushed down by Iraqi defender Zari in the penalty area, and the referee awarded a red card plus penalty. Xiao Jia made a penalty. I have to say that Ali Han's transformation of Xiao Jia is successful. This Asian Cup, everyone can see his changes. This goal was punished by Jingji. The ball is in. 2-0. Igwa was also punished with one person. The Igwa head coach on the sidelines was roaring, covering his head with a look of despair. Zaire was sent off, and the Iraqi team was behind 0-2, 10 people to 11 people, which is already impossible to turn over. 10 minutes later, Xiao Jia took the ball on the left and passed it to Su Long at the front of the penalty area. Su Long received the ball and then passed the ball to Jingji on the right side. To the edge of the penalty area, he shot. It's in. 3-0. Jingji may open twice. Let's look at the slow motion of the ball rubbing against the upright and into the net. 3-0, the opportunity for Iraq is gone. Extremely slim as a live commentary for CCVV5, still can't say so dead, there is no chance to change the mouth to be vague. Due to the running back and forth of the whole field and the blockade of Ali Dai, Su Long's physical exertion was relatively large, and in the later time, he did not score any more goals. In the end, Dragon Kingdom defeated Akuni with B/0. The fans cheered. What a final! Dragon Kingdom is coming. At the end of the game, the players, dressed in national flags, waved goodbye to the fans in the stands. Su Long. Xiao Jia. Su Long. Jingji. Su Long. Sun Jihai. Even though it is almost 12 o'clock now, the fans of Longhua are still full of vitality, shouting the names of Su Long, Sun Jihai and others, and they are not willing to leave for a long time. That night, the subway line in Beijing operated all night, just for the revelry fans. This day is a carnival day for all the fans of Dragon Country. After 20 years, Dragon Kingdom has once again appeared in the final of the Asian Cup. In the players' tunnel, Ali Dai stopped Su Long and exchanged shirts in somewhat broken English. Su Long quickly took off his shirt and exchanged with Ali Dai. This legendary player, 35 years old, is still on the field, although the style is not as good as that year, but Su Long is still very admired. After the game, a reporter asked Ali Dai what he thought of the junior Su Long. He's a very good striker, he's going to score more goals, and I'm expecting him to break my record, the sky is his limit. On the other side, Su Long was interviewed by the beauty reporter of CCTV5. Su Long, congratulations on scoring 11 goals in the Asian Cup, tell me how you feel now. I thought I was going to score goals, but I didn't expect to score 11. Before the Asian Cup, I felt like I could score 6 or 7. Thank you to my teammates for their support and for allowing me to score so many goals. So how do you feel about the fact that you broke Ali Dai's record for a single Asian Cup goal? As for the record, I'm a striker and I'd be embarrassed if I didn't score. Our success comes from the unity and self-confidence of the team, the beautiful reporter asked. Then what do you think of the manager Alihan arranging you to the midfield or even to the backfield? Look with your eyes. Beauty reporter. This clip was broadcast on TV, and Su Long was instantly on fire. In the Tianya forum, Sina forum, Tiaba forum, and various forums, all of them are netizens' ridicule and borrowing of seeing with their eyes. In this era, there is no such thing as hot search, but the internet is full of the word see with the eyes, which is equivalent to the hot search of this era. Su Long was also crying and laughing, not expecting that his joke would become like this. These 2 days Alihan was not very kind to his eyes. Su Long had to find an opportunity to personally communicate with Alihan, saying that this was a joke and a complete accident. Alihan sighed and said, Su, you're still young, I believe this is your unintentional mistake, but you do this, let me put a lot of pressure, next time pay attention. Dragon Kingdom defeats Iraq Country, enters the final again after 20 years. Dragon Kingdom strives to defeat the defending champion, eager for the championship trophy to stay in Dragon Country. Dragon Country stars shine, reach the final, look forward to the dream. Su Long read the report to understand why the fans on the night of the semi-finals were so fanatical. After 28,470 years, it reached the final of the Asian Cup again. It's really worth fanatically. The last time I reached the finals, it was probably my grandfather's life, when there was no TV and I could only read the newspaper. Before the final battle between China and Japan, the AFC Technical Committee announced the first best team of this Asian Cup, and Su Long was among them. Rukuni and Nichikoku, each with 4 players on the list. The 4 Japanese players are goalkeeper Nobuki Kawaguchi, defenders Hisayoshi Miyamoto, Yuji Nakazawa, and striker Shunsuke Nakamura. The 4 players of Longhua are defenders Jing Ji, Su Long, forward defenders Zhao Juansha and Xiao Jiai. Su Long saw this report and cried and laughed, Nima, the first time as a defender to be selected for the best team. In the 2004 Asian Cup, the 18-year-old Su Long showed the talent of a talented striker, scoring 8 goals in the group stage, of which the match against Indonesia in the Dragon Country was his masterpiece, scoring 6 goals alone, breaking the single individual goal record, and then scoring 2 goals and 1 goal in the quarterfinals and semifinals, fully revealing his killer talent. The AFC's evaluation of itself is not very compatible with its own defender identity. Dragon Kingdom Tyrannosaurus vs Hajime Empire. In the hotel where the Hajime team was staying, Endo looked at Captain Hideyoshi Nakata and said, Captain, is this Dragon Kingdom Tyrannosaurus really so powerful? Endo Hohido is looking at the article written by the online media on the Japanese side, and the title of this middle school can be seen in the characteristics of the Japanese country. What Dragon Kingdom's Tyrannosaurus Rex was only 18 years old? It's a bit of an exaggeration. Hideyoshi Nakata shook his head and said, didn't you read the data? By now, that Tyrannosaurus has scored 11 goals and broken the Asian Cup record, you can't be careless. The youngest player in the Hajime team, Tohiro Bohido said unconvincingly, that's when he took 6 goals in Indonesia. The starting goalkeeper next to him, Masayoshi, sneered and said, what a Tyrannosaurus, I'm not afraid of him. Tomorrow's game, I'm going to keep a clean sheet Dragon Country. Let all the people of Asia know that we are the king of Asia. Endo Hohito nodded and said, yes, what a Tyrannosaurus, tomorrow everyone will know. This is just a parallel cargo. Episode 78. The Battle of China and Japan, Nakata Hidetoshi's surprise. August 7, 2004, 8 p.m., final day. In the dressing room, Alihan stressed again. Although Hidetoshi Nakata has never played with an injury, no one can guarantee that Hidetoshi Nakata will not play in the final, so we have to defend them. Oh, Su Long, your task is to be above the back position, when defending, stuck here, making the opposite Nakata Hidate Hoshi uncomfortable. You and Nakata Hidate Hoshi are opposite, so your task in this game is very heavy. But I'm sure you can do it. Of course, the task of suppressing the midfield of Nishishima is not just a matter for you. Jingji, Zhao Juanjia, Xiao Jiai, you, and Su Long are both midfielders. Su Long nodded. These days, Su Long is already familiar with Alihan's tactical system. The spiritual attributes of Su Long 65 should be among the best in the Dragon Kingdom, and it is not difficult to understand Alihan's tactical system. Alihan is a Dutch celebrity, and in the 1974 World Cup in West Germany, he played a position similar to Su Long's current position. At that time, the Dutch team was very famous for its tactics, that is, full attack and full defense, full field suppression, and Alihan's position was very flexible, equivalent to a free man at the back. Football Emperor Beckenbauer is the pinnacle of the freelancer at the back. Of course, Su Long's current strength is far behind. In fact, such tactics have become outdated in the international community and belong to the tactics of 20 years ago. But on the field of the Asian Cup, rookies pecking at each other, such a tactic is not impossible. In order to make the backcourt free man play a role, Alihan had arranged 2 free backcourt free men for the Dragon national team. One is the back Su Long, the other is the central defender Jingji, the front free man is Xiao Jiai. The 3 are connected into a central axis, driving the team's attack and defense. And in today's game, Alihan changed a little. One central axis becomes 2 central lines. Zhao Juanjia, Xiao Jiai Jingji, Su Long. It is equivalent to turning the midfield completely into a meat grinder, and the old island is hard to fight. The reason why Alihan has this confidence is because of Su Long and Jingji. And then, Alihan glanced at Sun Jihai. Some time ago, Sun Jihai's father ran up on Alihan in the media, saying that Alihan did not understand the use of people and had a personal grudge. Alihan did not say it on the surface, but his heart was very unhappy, so these games let Sun Jihai come on the bench. Due to the good cooperation between Sun Jihai and Su Long, Alihan was able to see a great chance of victory. Coupled with Jingji's position leaning forward, then the position of central defender is vacated to let Li Ming, who originally played in midfield, go to play central defender, which is always almost interesting. Now the most suitable candidate for the Dragon national team is naturally Sun Jihai. But when Alihan remembered that Sun Jihai's father was so skeptical in the media, he did not have the idea of letting Sun Jihai make the first appearance. How can I say that Alihan is also a generation of celebrities, do not want face? Sun Xian, you play at center back. Sun Xian was stunned for a moment, nodded his head, and said, good. CCVV5, audience friends, I'm Huang Jianxiong. I am Han Xiaoxing. Welcome to the final of the 13th Asian Cup in China at the end of 2004. We Dragon Kingdom against Hajime. After 20 years of the final, we Dragon Country fans are very excited. Since last night, I have been like a primary school student on a spring tour, and I can't sleep. Let's see, the back line of the Nishishima team is full of spectators in front of the TV set of the Hajime players, hearing Mr. Han's signature language and laughing. With laughter in front of the TV, the game began. 10 minutes ahead, both sides were tentative. The player with the ball fights in midfield, and the ball simply can't come out. Whether it is the Dragon Kingdom or the Japanese Kingdom, their balls are difficult to pass to the front line. Oops, Xiao Jiai's ball was broken, and Hajime's players fought back. Hidate Hoshi Nakata received the ball was cut off by Su Long, and the ball went out of bounds. 5 minutes later, Hidate Hoshi Nakata's cross was once again destroyed by Su Long. Hidate Hoshi Nakata looked at Rukuni number 9 in amazement. He didn't falsely report his age, 18 years old has such a core power? Hidate Hoshi Nakata is also the core midfielder of the team in Serie A, encountering opponents who are famous stars from all over the world, but few have such a strong core strength of the teenager in front of him. I couldn't even knock him away? This is the Tyrannosaurus of the Dragon Kingdom? It really lives up to the name of Tyrannosaurus. Hidate Hoshi Nakata is going to get serious. The surrounding Hajime teammates could feel the change in the aura and show their joy. They knew that Hidate Hoshi Nakata was going to be serious and strong. Hidate Hoshi Nakata is a proud player, and when he encounters a weak enemy, he will exert about 80% of his strength. But when encountering a powerful enemy, he can always inspire his inner fighting spirit. As Nakata Hidate Hoshi begins to run, Su Long suddenly finds that the pressure increases. Is this going to be done? Su Long squinted his eyes and followed Nakata Hidate Hoshi closely, like a cowhide shovel, which made Nakata Hideho very uncomfortable. In the 19th minute, Su Long once again forced Hidate Hoshi Nakata to turn around and protect the ball, passing the ball back to the players behind him. Hidate Hoshi Nakata was surprised to find that his strength could not shake the number 9 player behind him. To know that in the Serie A league known as the Little World Cup, and the core midfield of each national team to fight for the core strength, it is not vain. This Dragon Kingdom young man also has such a strong core force? Hideyoshi Nakata didn't quite believe it, but the facts were in front of him. At this time, Nakata knew that the £10 million transfer fee given by Manchester City in the Premier League was not because of the commercial nature of the Dragon Country players, but because this person was worth the money. And Su Long also gasped slightly, looking at Nakata Hidehoshi's eyes full of solemn defense of Nakata Hidehoshi's difficulty, higher than defending Ali Dai. Is this the Asian superstar of the year of the fight? Very good, today I just completely blocked your midfield engine. 5 minutes later, Su Long stole Hajima's pass, and Hajima's player Takayuki Suzuki performed a rough shovel against Su Long. A gross foul. This should be a card. I hope Su Long is not injured. Su Long fell to the ground all the time. There was a burst of booing. Kick but we foul us, really Hajime devil. The referee recorded Takayuki Suzuki's name, and Takayuki Suzuki became the first player to receive the yellow God of War card. Takayuki Suzuki stepped back expressionlessly, whether he gave the card or not, his warning purpose was achieved. Let this number 9 know that they are not easy to mess with. Boy, are you going to try another steal from our Hajime? Iron Man feature activated. 50% reduction in injuries. Minor injuries. Su Long breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately there was no injury, it was a little painful. Xingji and the others walked up and pulled up Su Long. How's it going? Su Long pinched his feet, shook his head, and said, it's all right. With that, Su Long looked at Suzuki Takayuki, and Suzuki Takayuki smiled triumphantly. Su Long scolded, laugh, I'll make you laugh and be happy. After 5 minutes, Su Long Lian kicked Takayuki Suzuki with the ball. Takayuki Suzuki felt that he had been hit by a cow and the whole person flew up. In the air, Suzuki's eyes were as big as bull's eyes. He didn't expect Su Long to be so rigid. This was not the character of the Dragon Country people at all. The older generation of players in the Dragon Kingdom are still a bit bloody, but how can the younger generation be so fierce? Ah. Takayuki Suzuki fell heavily to the ground and covered his feet, feeling that his feet had lost consciousness. What are you doing? Nakata Hideyoshi roared angrily and crashed into Su Long, but was bounced off. Overlord feature activation. The referee walked over, and the players on both sides of Hajime and Rikuni immediately rushed up, and the referee separated the two sides. Su Long explained, I didn't do it to anyone, I went for the ball. The referee consulted with the referee and said to Su Long that your movements should pay attention to Su Long and nodded. As long as the other party's actions pay attention to the point, then my actions also pay attention to the point. The players of the Dragon Nation team surrounded Su Long. Yes, Su Long. You shouldn't let the devil. Death to the devil. Su Long said, I am a very peaceful person. This foul aroused the anger of Hajime's players. But no Hajime player dared to foul Su Long. Su Long shook his head, it was all a bunch of soft bones who were afraid of hardness. In the 37th minute, Hajime won a free kick at the front of the penalty area. Hideyoshi Nakata's free kick. It's Takayuki Suzuki again. This time, Suzuki Takayuki saw Su Long, and his left foot was still faintly painful, hiding far away. Unexpectedly, because he hid far away, let Takayuki Suzuki at the bottom line and fight for a free kick. It's really luck. Takayuki Suzuki topped the ball and crossed it precisely in front of the goal. All the fans looked horrified. No. A big mistake in the back line. Fukusai Takashi left no one to watch, took a step back and easily scored the ball into the goal. Su Long is angry, what about the people who are defending in the middle? Center back. Sun Xian, how did you run outside the forbidden area? Sun Xian's face turned pale, and he also found that his position was wrong. He didn't play midfield today, he played at center back. Alihan on the sidelines frowned, what is the situation? Sun Xian as a central defender, such a defensive deployment is obviously failing. How could such a mistake be made? Alihan did not want to think that it was Yong who transferred Sun Xian, who had originally played the front back, to the center back. Su Long frowned, without waiting for Su Long to say, as the captain Li Weifeng pulled Sun Xian aside, half teaching and half encouraging that he must pay attention to his position next. Today you are playing in the back. The Japanese island team obviously found this loophole and frantically went to find Sun Xian to kick this loophole. Because of this goal, Longwa fell into passivity. In the 40th minute, Koji Nakata fouled Xingji in midfield, becoming the second Hajime player to receive the yellow God of War card. The Dragon Kingdom side defended hard until the end of the first half, and Alihan did not have any adjustments. Su Long frowned, wanting to ask what was going on. It doesn't work like this. Episode 79, Breaking the of Sunphobia. At halftime, Su Long did not wait for the team's personnel adjustment. In the second half, in the 49th minute, Sun Xian made a mistake again, accidentally received a high-altitude ball, and kicked at the feet of Hideyoshi Nakata. Su Long steals Nakata Hideyoshi, but is blown foul. Su Long shook his head, this is a good steal yet. Hideyoshi Nakata's feet were shaking. Was the number 19 player's foot made of iron? So hard? Although Hajime is now leading 1-0, Hideyoshi Nakata always feels that Rukuni will overtake at any time. The main thing is that this number 19 Su Long has given him too much oppression. A free kick on the side of Hajime. Hideyoshi Nakata needed a break, and Shunsuke Nakamura took the corner kick and the arc went straight to the Rukuni penalty area. It's the negligence of the backline again. Koji Nakata, who was ambushed at the far post, actually hit the ball into the goal of the Dragon Country team with his hand. 2-0. The referee said the goal was valid. Hajime players cheered, and the fans fell silent. Sun Xian hurriedly signaled the first goal to the referee, and the referee was not moved, but gave Sun Xian a yellow God of War card. Falling behind 0-2, and the second goal was scored by Hajime's handball, which had a huge impact on the morale of Rikoku's side. The handball has been judged to be valid, what else can be done? And at this time, the sky began to rain misty. Raindrops fell on the faces of the players, cool and fluttering. The psychology of the players on the Dragon Country side instantly fell into a trough, and even had the feeling that life was not on my side. Su Long roared angrily and said, "It's not over yet, 40 minutes left." As the captain of the team, Li Weifeng also stood up in time. Yes, Su Long is right, we can score 4 goals against Igwa, then this game can also score 4 goals. In 40 minutes, anything can happen. Think of the fans who braved the rain to watch the game. Think of the family members who are watching the game. Imagine how many powerful enemies we ourselves have stepped on along the way. 343. Su Long said in a deep voice, "It's raining, and it's time for us to counterattack. Gone fuck." Although Li Weifeng and Su Long temporarily raised the morale of the whole team, as the back line of the Dragon Kingdom of Sinners, there were still some signs of psychological collapse. In particular, Sun Xian, who was temporarily transferred to a position, lost his soul and fell down. Several times almost caused Hajime to score again, but fortunately Rukuni suddenly had luck to shelter him, and several goals were either deflected or saved. Su Long walked to the sideline and roared at the bench, "What are you waiting for before you change people?" Sideline, team leader Li Xiao frowned and asked the interpreter to tell Ali Han whether to make adjustments. Sun Jihai. Now it's all 0-2, how can you make Sun Jihai still sit on the bench? Suddenly hearing Su Long's roar, he was stunned, he couldn't understand what Su Long was saying, because Su Long was speaking English. Ali Han was stunned. He didn't expect that Su Long, who had always been very obedient to himself, actually began to call himself up. Li Xiao asked the translator, "What did Su Long say?" The translator was stunned and said, "Su Long, he said to change people quickly." Li Xiao looked at Ali Han very angrily and said, "I hear no substitution." Su Long said that the person has been replaced. "You must make it clear to Ali Han, don't make things happen for personal grudges, and finish this game first." Nyamas originally came to find Ali Han to be the head coach, just to find an obedient one, not to listen to the command like Mila did before. The result is still this bird. In order to establish the authority of the head coach, take Sun Jihai to open the knife. Now that he is behind 0-2, Li Xiao is not a professional who can see that there is a problem with the back line of the Longhua team. Don't lift Sun Jihai up yet. The translator considered the words and sentences and communicated with Ali Han. Ali Han was expressionless, and with a big wave of his hand, he said, "You guys look at it and do it." Li Xiao snorted and said to another coach of Longhua, "Go to the 4th referee and say, Sun Xian will replace it with Sun Jihai." The on-site commentary of Teacher Han and Huang Jianxiang's looks are very solemn. Now the situation of the Dragon national team is very bad, and it can be seen that the Dragon national team has been a bit chaotic. Hey, the psychological quality of the players in the Dragon Country team is still not up to standard, and there will always be some problems when encountering the Japanese island and Korean island. Su Long ran to the front of the bench as if to say something. Hey, at this time Ali Han hasn't made personnel adjustments yet, and Su Long is in a hurry. Yes, Su Long is the most active player on the field, but no one can help him. Sun Jihai, also at Manchester City, is still on the bench. Hey, look at how Ali Han arranges, he also has his reasons. Look, the person is changed. In the 61st minute, Sun Xian came off the field and did not follow the C field. As soon as Sun Jihai came on, he began to command, "Su Long, your position continues to move forward. The back line is left to me." Su Long nodded, for Sun Jihai's strength, Su Long was trusted. "I'm here, the back line can be stabilized." Sun Jihai's confident words gave the Longhua team a reassurance. But the score of 0-2 is still like a sword hanging above the heads of the Dragon national players. The Hajime players are smiling. In less than 30 minutes, 2 goals lead and already stable. Nakata Hideyoshi said in a deep voice, "Concentrate, there are still 30 minutes, now is not the time to celebrate." The crowd was told by Hideyuki Nakata and reluctantly brought their attention back to the field. But the 2-goal lead still made them feel very relaxed. As we all know, the Dragon national team is notoriously poor in psychological quality. After so many years of fighting the Dragon Kingdom has never had a Jedi reversal happened. Su Long put the ball back on the serve point and kicked the ball to Xiao Jiai. The Hajime player, who scored 2 goals, did not fight as before, but instead stockpiled his heavy troops in his own half and began to feel like he was swinging a bus in front of his goal. Su Long frowned. Now such a situation, the most important thing is to advance a goal, open the opposite door, otherwise the rest is white. Su Long, Jingji, and Xiao Jiai passed the ball back and forth in an attempt to tear through the Nichishima team's defense, but the players of the Hajime team followed the strategy of not moving the enemy and not moving at all. At this time, there is only one way, that is, to tear the opposite defense by personal strength. Su Long asked for the ball again. The position was already a little deeper, and Hajime players Takayuki Suzuki and Hideyoshi Nakata began to pinch Su Long left and right. Su Long did not pass the ball, he chose to break through himself. Nakata Hideyoshi didn't stop Su Long, he was overthrown by Su Long and fell to the ground himself. Su Long faced the 3-way siege and passed the ball. It was Xiao Jiai. Xiao Jiai's long-range shot, good ball. The ball was played right but was saved by the goalkeeper. Hajime was scared out of a cold sweat and shouted, "Concentrate." Look forward to the 6th and 19th opposite. Su Long and Xiao Jia clapped their hands and smiled and said, "That's how it is fought." Xiao Jia nodded and said, "Well, next time I'll organize it. I think it's better for you to end it." Good. Although this attack was not successful, the cooperation of Su Long and Xiao Jiai made his teammates start to have confidence. The fans in the stands also braved the drizzle and began to cheer for the Dragon Country team, come on, Dragon Nation, come on. With the support of the fans, the Dragon Country players began to move. That's how it kicks. Gone. When will our Dragon Kingdom be afraid of the Japanese kingdom? Nichikuni was originally a 2-ball lead, a bit of a defensive one, and even began to be pressed by the Dragon Kingdom to play. In the 78th minute, Xiao Jiai's breakthrough cross fell directly into the penalty area. It is the front of Su Long. Su Long was followed by 2 Hajime defenders. But how to chase is a poor position, Ladu pole is insufficient. Su Long did not give the Hajime defender a chance to foul himself outside the penalty area, rushed into the box, unloaded the ball with one big foot, and shot with a strong kick. Su Long stopped the ball and it was perfect. He shoots, good ball. Entered, a precious ball of gold. 1-2. We in the Dragon Kingdom still have a chance. We re-looked at the slow play. Su Long did not wait for the ball to land, directly shot at the goal, but the requirements for the player's ability are very high. But Su Long had to do that, and if he waited for the ball to land and then adjusted, the 2 defenders behind him would catch up. Yes, this half-second opportunity, Su Long seized. Now we still have hope in the Dragon Kingdom. Huang Jianxiang's voice was hoarse. The players on the Hajime side had a solemn face, and they thought that they could completely press the Dragon national team, but this number 19 player suddenly appeared. The goal just now really made the entire back line of the Nichijima team unable to do anything. On the contrary, because of Su Long's goal, the morale of the Dragon Country team suddenly rose and the fans in the stands also began to shout. Dragon Country team, come on. Dragon Country team, come on. In the 82nd minute, Sun Jihai's pre-adventure snatched successfully, shoveling the Hajime players down and the ball reached Xingji's feet. Attack and defense change instantly. Xingji had a big foot and passed to Xiao Jia's foot in front. As soon as Xiao Jia saw Su Long thrust forward, he passed the ball up. Su Long received the ball, shook past Hideyoshi Nakata, who came up to grab the ball, and faced the bag clips of the 2 Hajime players in front of and behind, and kicked across into the box. Nakata Hideyoshi was cold. Bastard, what are you doing with him? There's no one behind you. The fans in the stands suddenly cheered, like a landslide tsunami. Su Long passed the ball into the penalty area. It was Xingji. Fantastic passing, no one defended Xingji. One kick, oops, pounced on by the goalkeeper. Ah. Su Long. Su Long suddenly appeared and hit the ball in, perfect reshoot. The opposing goalkeeper was dumbfounded. Let's see slow play. After Su Long passed the ball, he was bumped by the Hajime players, but the Hajime players were knocked down. Su Long immediately entered the penalty area and just happened to encounter the opportunity. The goalkeeper on the opposite side, Masayoshi Kaizaki, is the number 1 goalkeeper of the national team, and there is no way to face such a close shot. 2-2. 2 goals like gold. This battle perfectly shows the value of Su Long, which is the value of £10 million. Equalized. Perfect performance. 2-2 draw, we have to keep. The players who surrounded them were very excited, and Captain Li Weifeng said, there are still 10 minutes, hold on. Su Long roared angrily and said, what to keep? Just kick it and keep him again. Win the game, Sun Jihai also said, yes, what is the keep? Is our Dragon Kingdom worse than their Japanese kingdom? Episode 80, we are champions. Not only is the on-site commentary thinking about holding, but even the Dragon Country players are thinking the same way. For the next 10 minutes, the bus was put on guard. But Su Long and Sun Jihai's words were like a heavy hammer, crushing the panic in their hearts. Keep what keep? Are we weak in the Dragon Nation? The players on the Hajime side, looking into the eyes of the Dragon Country team, began to show a little panic. Who would have thought that at the last moment, the Dragon Nation, which was 2 goals behind, would actually be equalized, and it was from one person's foot. At this time, the Hajime players who said before the game that they were going to beat the Dragon Kingdom Tyrannosaurus into were cold. As Hajime's first star, Hidetoshi Nakata stabilized everyone. It's okay, it's flat, the advantage is also on our side, our physical fitness is better than theirs. When we face difficulties, we handle it better than they do. I believe the final champion is ours. We'll score another goal before the game is over. Nakata's self-confidence affected the entire Hajime team, barely boosting Hajime's morale. In order to gain the advantage again, the Japanese team attacked with all their might, but the Dragon national team once again seized the opportunity to counterattack. Sun Jihai once again grabbed the ball very fiercely, and the forward player of the Nichishima team, Keiji Tameda, flew with the ball. The referee did not blow the whistle this time. The midfielder flipped over and the ball ended up at the feet of Hidetoshi Nakata. Nakata signaled not to rush and slow down the pace. But Su Long rushed up, forcing Nakata Hidetoshi to turn around and face Su Long to protect the ball. The two secretly fought with their feet, and Nakata Hidetoshi stared in pain. How hard it is. Su Long withstood Nakata Hidetoshi, and I have to say that today Su Long defended Hidetoshi Nakata, the biggest star of the Nichishima team, and did not let him play well. Jingji Bao is clipped. Hidetoshi Nakata made a mistake. His pass was stolen by Jingji. Nakata Hidetoshi's face changed drastically, he saw Jingji, but misestimated Jingji's physical strength. In order to make the players of the Nichishima team comfortable to receive the ball, the strength under his feet was small, and he did not expect that Jingji, who was fast for 90 minutes, could still run so fast. At the moment when Jingji snatched the ball, the Dragon national team flew with both wings. Xiaojiai, Su Long, took off on both sides. The island's rear lines quickly caught up. Dragon Nation team strikes back. The Hajime team paid the price for their all-out attack. Xiao Jia successfully countered the offside and received Jingji's cross. A cross sent the ball into the penalty area, right at the midpoint between Su Long and the opposite goalkeeper Masatsugu Chieftaka. Su Long is a little faster than Chief Masaaki. Good ball. It's in. Oh my god, Su Long hat-trick, good ball. Look at it again slowly, Su Long's foot is lightly picked, faster than the chieftain Masaru, just a step. The ball flew directly over Masatsugu Chieftaka and went into the goal. Masaaki has just paid the price for this adventure. But if Chief Chijing just doesn't come out, he will also face Su Long and Xiao Jiai's 2-on-1. Su Long shouted, took the ball directly out of the goal, rushed back to the midline T-point, and put the ball down. The fans cheered. The players of the Island Nation team were dumbfounded. What kind of monster is this? It's 90 minutes, and it's still running fast. Cap Killer feature activated, strength plus 10, damage reduction plus 20%. Su Long's physical strength, which was already close to exhaustion, suddenly eased up again. He felt like he could still score. However, the game stopped for a while. One of the defenders who had just been chasing Su Long cramped, covered his face, and was carried down, and he could be vaguely seen crying. Hajime used up their last substitution. Although the Dragon Country team led by 1 goal, all the fans were very nervous. There's also a 3-minute stoppage time phase, and who knows what's going to happen. Nakata Hidetoshi said the same thing, but from the looks in the eyes of his teammates, Nakata Hidetoshi had a feeling of weakness. In stoppage time, Sun Jihai once again snatched off Hajime's attacking players and kicked the ball into Hajime's backcourt with a big foot. Su Long's anti-offside success and running all the way. The Hajime defender behind him was breathless and couldn't catch up. At this moment, the fans of the whole stadium stood up for Su Long. What did I see? It's been 92 minutes, and Su Long is still running fast. The opposite goalkeeper didn't strike. Chief Masaaki did not dare to rush out this time, and the lesson of the last time was vividly remembered. He could only keep his arms open in front of goal. However, facing the goalkeeper who did not attack, Su Long adjusted and did not shoot, but continued to move forward. Forced the chieftain to attack. Su Long entered the penalty area, and the chief had to attack. Beautiful. Su Long's change of direction deceived the center of gravity of the chieftain, and he slipped. Good ball. It's in. Su Long pushed a kick before the opposing defender's tackle arrived. Precision shooting feature activated, the ball drills straight into the far corner. The chief, who slipped to the ground, had no time to save. The moment Su Long came out of his foot, he was shoveled down by the defender behind him, but the ball was already out of his foot. Good ball. Strike. Strike. Nice shots. 4-2, Su Long scored 4 goals in a row, and became the biggest contributor to the Dragon Nations Championship. 4-2. Su Long's goal completely buried the hope of the Nichishima team. 2 goals behind. The referee was stunned and raised his hand to show that the goal was valid. Hijima players have a sluggish face. From leading by 2 goals to falling behind by 2 goals. They looked into Su Long's eyes and showed panic. Nakata Hideyoshi watched Su Long's performance stunned, and his heart was full of shock. It's been more than 90 minutes, how can this young man's physical fitness be so good? His knees were as heavy as lead. It's really old. Originally, in this season of Serie A, Hideyoshi Nakata felt the decline of his form, and this game brought an injury to the game, which was even more profound. The cheers of the fans in the stands resounded through the sky. Dragon Nation, champion! Dragon Nation, champion! The shouts were exhausting, with a little crying. At this moment, I don't know how many Dragon Country fans are crying. In front of the TV, how many Dragon Country fans are crying and laughing? Asian Cup champion! After Dragon Kingdom began participating in the Asian Cup in 1976, its best result was the runner-up in 1984. In almost 30 years, I have never won a championship. Today, Dragon Country fans have finally got their wish. This night is destined to be a carnival day for Dragon Country fans. Su's father, who was watching TV at home, took off his glasses and wiped his eyes. This victory is so exciting. He took out the honey wine that had been treasured for 10 years and looked at Mama Su. Mama Su cried and said, drink it, make an exception today. Mama Su doesn't understand how important it is for the Dragon Country team to win, but today her son won glory for the country, scored 4 goals, and defeated the Nichishima Devil. Hearing the fans' cries of the Dragon Country champion coming from the TV, Mama Su didn't know why she cried. Soon, the end of the game whistled. Hijima players were very sad, some of the players sat paralyzed on the pitch, did not get up, covered their faces, and cried. Scored 4 goals in the last 15 minutes, and none of them could accept the result. And it's the same person. All the Dragon Country players rushed to the court, even the head coach Ali Han and the manager Li Xiao rushed up with a red face. We are champions. Dragon Country champion. Long live the Dragon Kingdom. This scene is in stark contrast. The entire workers' gymnasium turned into a sea of red. The fans sang the national anthem. Get up. Su Long's body was draped with a red national flag, and the whole audience ran. At this time, the mood was full of excitement, full of pride, and the eyes were red. Su Long had not yet reacted, and he was thrown high by his teammates. Win, we are champions. The on-site commentary, Teacher Han's voice, was choked. Yes, I am so happy today, thank you Su Long, thank you national football, this time the champion is none other than you. Zero Huang Jianxiang also cried. As Dragon Country footballers, they know that it won't be easy. These are tears of joy, tears of glory, and tears of complexity, and our national team represents the true spirit of sportsmanship and is proud of the national football team. Let's announce that the winner of the 2004 Asian Cup is Dragon Country. Soon, the award ceremony was ready. The trophy, which represents the Asian Cup champion, was also taken. The fans have not left, and everyone is applauding. At this time, everyone's mood calmed down a little. Journalists, photographers, are pointing long guns and short cannons at the podium. Su Long immediately straightened his waist. All the players received their medals and stood on the podium, and everyone lifted the Asian Cup trophy together. At this moment, flashes from all directions illuminated the entire podium. The moment of winning the championship was clearly photographed by the photographers. This scene became the homepage picture of all newspapers the next day. That night, all the forums exploded. All of them are pictures of Su Long running with the national flag in his arms, as well as pictures of the whole team standing together, and pictures of the game attacking. On each picture, it says, "We are champions." All the media released reports of the National Football Asian Cup winning within 10 minutes after the game. Longwa Youth Daily reported that in the final of the National Football Asian Cup that ended on the evening of August 7, Royal Beijing time, the Longwa national team counterattacked the Japanese national team 4-2. In the match, Japan scored 2 goals first, and in the second half, Su Long scored 2 goals in 5 minutes to equalize. In the 90th minute, in the 93rd minute, Su Long scored 2 more goals to kill the Japanese team. This is the first time that the national football team has won the Asian Cup. Let us congratulate the national football team. We are champions, CCTV5 reports. Sports Weekly reports. Fans are partying and watching the replay again. Sports television stations around the world are also constantly broadcasting. Tianya Forum, Sina Sports, all almost collapsed, and the above are all messages from fans. The Dragon Nation team never gives up and wins the championship. The Dragon Nation perfectly interprets that anything is possible. You can always believe in Su Long. Su Long, the god of death,